Vice Presidents of the Human Rights Council, distinguished delegates, excellencies. I'm honored to participate in this interactive dialogue with the Human Rights Council and address you as the Special Rapporteur on the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and of association. I'm very pleased to present to you the model protocol for law enforcement officials to promote and protect human rights in the context of peaceful protest. As the Council requested through its resolution 50/21, the model protocol and its supplementary tools were developed in collaboration with the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime and the United Nations Office of United High Commissioner Office for Human Rights. These tools were developed through extensive consultation, including civil society, experts, law enforcement, practitioners, and others. In total, 6 regional consultations were organized in Chile, Lebanon, Kenya, Austria, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, and Malaysia. And 1 multi-stakeholder global consultation was held in Geneva to reflect the finding. Mr. Vice President, to address the pressing threat of humanity today, states should facilitate peaceful protests, not suppress them. As history shows, only through mobilizing and raising their voices can people advance change, stop war, and end grave human rights violations. Yet, peaceful protests in many countries continue to be mischaracterized as a threat to national security or public order and are often suppressed, unduly restricted, and harshly repressed. Every year, hundreds of protesters are injured, killed, tortured, arbitrarily detained, or subject to other serious human rights violations, often due to the excessive use of force. The misuse of emerging technology in the context of peaceful protests has provided another layer of restriction which is today implemented in many countries. Human Rights Council Resolution 50/21 was adopted in an effort to address these repressive trends and strengthen the human rights protection in the context of peaceful protests around the world. Mr. Vice President, to assist states and law enforcement in fulfilling their obligation, the model protocol is supplemented by the following technical components. First, action-oriented checklists for law enforcement to implement the right to peaceful assembly through the facilitation of this fundamental freedom. Second, a principle-based guidance for the human rights compliant use of digital technology in the context of peaceful protests. And the third, a handbook for law enforcement, which will be available soon. These practical tools translate existing international human rights law and standards into practice and reflect good practice gathering from across the world. The extensive consultation process ensures that the tools are applicable across jurisdictions and different contexts. The model protocol provides practical guidance to law enforcement officials to ensure that from the preparation to the facilitation of protests, law enforcement apply a human rights approach and their decision and action are in line with the international obligation of ensuring non-discrimination, precaution, and accountability. The model protocol and its supplementary documents are designed around the following key requirements. First, human rights compliance policing, which seek to establish and build with communities, a trust with communities and civil society. Second, robust preparedness to prevent human rights violations and ensure law enforcement are adequately trained and equipped to facilitate peaceful protests. Third, continual application of the de-escalation technique, including through negotiation and other strategy aimed at de-escalating any tension or potential violence. Fourth, precaution and alternative measures aimed at avoiding the use of force. Fifth, accountability and commander responsibility, which require strengthening preventive measures and developing institutional and regulatory framework for oversight, which ensure impartial and timely investigation and appropriate sanction in case of human rights violation. And the sixth, the safety, health, and well-being of law enforcement as an important part of the preventing human rights abuses and the use of force. The digital technology component provides specific guidance to law enforcement on using digital technology in a human rights compliant manner, which appropriates human rights safeguards and place in the context of protests. Given the lack of existing normative framework, this document seeks to close the protection gap due to the misuse of technology in the context of peaceful protests. Mr. Vice President, through the consultation, law enforcement from across the world express enthusiasm and openness for the development of such tools, which reflect their experience and that will help them to better do their job. Most of them told me how the lack of clear protocol exacerbates the challenges they face and the possibility of escalation. I encourage states to use the model protocol for the development of their own national protocol and procedure and to align the existing ones according to its own provision. Political will is especially needed. States should create and enable political environment and legal framework which promote civic space and freedoms. In light of its mandate to prevent the continuation of human rights violation, the Council should use this mechanism, such as the Universal Periodic Review process, to encourage states to implement the model protocol. The model protocol and checklist can be used to monitor member states' compliance with the international human rights obligation relevant to the context of peaceful protests and for advancing accountability. I further recommend that the Human Rights Council support states to use the model protocol and its supplementary tool to strengthen law enforcement and institutional capacity and legal framework and procedure to protect and promote human rights during protests. My mandate stands available to continue the collaboration with UNODC and the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights to provide technical advice. Mr. Vice President, in addition, creating space for dialogue and collaboration between authority and civil society and movement is key to advancing human rights and addressing today's challenge. I would like to use this opportunity to report on a recent step I have taken in this regard. In light of my mandate to provide technical assistance to states, I have hosted a roundtable between Libyan civil society and relevant authority which aim at creating a space for dialogue for development of a legal framework protecting the right to association in line with international human rights law and standard. I would like to thank the Libyan Permanent Mission for their collaboration and also the co-chair of the International Humanitarian Law and Human Rights Working Group under the Berlin process on Libya for their support. The United Nations support also mission that is in Libya, but also Switzerland and also Netherlands. Monsieur le Président, c'est ma dernière apparition devant ce Conseil en tant que rapporteur spécial sur la liberté de réunion pacifique et d'association, car mon mandat s'achève à la fin du mois d'avril. Je souhaite remercier tous les États et la société civile pour leur collaboration et soutien à mon mandat. J'espère qu'au cours de ces 6 dernières années, j'ai pu contribuer à l'élaboration de normes pour une meilleure protection et jouissance de ces droits et pour une meilleure compréhension de leur importance pour la prévention des conflits, l'édification de sociétés pacifiques et inclusives, le renforcement de la démocratie et la promotion d'une justice climatique. Je souhaite que ce Conseil reste un espace de dialogue, un organe vers lequel les victimes peuvent se tourner pour obtenir justice et mettre fin aux violations des droits de l'homme lorsqu'elles ne sont pas en mesure de le faire dans leur propre pays. Je vous remercie.